everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to be talking about the treasure spawn that just came out in the monster. Okay, for the monster, it looks like, I haven't tried it out, but it looks like it's going to be built around the Super United offense, if you guys aren't aware. And this monster right here, by the way, this monster is not worth it at all. Zero. Unless you not even legitimately start off. You legitimately started off. Even then, this monster is not worth it. So I absolutely do not recommend going for this monster. This event is a different story. I will cover that in the update video. They do have the tapsies, and the tapsies will always be useful. Quick XP gear you could also obtain too, so it's not a completely useless event. It's just a useless monster to obtain. So that saves you a lot of hassle and a lot of struggle that you might have had, and more time to, whether it's level up your crystal, get your more gear score, reforge, or just do this event that's still going to be out until September 10th. Alrighty, so going back to this monster looks like it's built for the event, was what I was trying to say. But other than the event, this monster is very useful for guild battles. Can be used in player versus enemy. Can be useful in player versus enemy. It's not going to be like top tier though, but it can be very useful in player versus enemy regardless. But this monster for guild battles, not Coliseums, not really player versus player, but guild battles, is going to be very, very, very good and highly recommended. If you don't got Holmes and this Pon, I think guy, yes, it's Pon, you're gonna want, because oh well, it's not a boy, it's a girl. It says tomboy magician, so this whole time it was a girl. It looks like a guy though. Anyways, I think that's the point in tomboy. This monster is very useful for guild battles because of its Piercer ability. Piercer goes through damage reduction and damage reflect. So that barrier that every really late A rank guild or S rank guilds will be negated, and there's no point in it, there's no use in it. You don't even have to worry about it at all with this monster. Kind of unfair, but at the same time not really. So if you ain't got homes, I highly recommend getting this monster for your guild. You really only need one, so everybody doesn't have to spawn it. Maybe if you're not thinking of staying in this guild, maybe this guild is permanent, you might want this yourself. But if you love your guild, and you know the person who's going to get this loves your guild too, you really only need one of this monster. You don't need like two. Maybe can be helpful just in case, you need a fallback, a plan B. Two can be helpful for the guild, but you really only need one for the guild if you know you can trust your members and you want to stay in the guild yourself. So you really only need one, because you really only need to cast Piercer once, and that's to get past the damage reflect. On top of it, it reduces ability cooldown times by 30% and increases cost recovery speed of all allies on top of it. So it's like between Missionary and Holmes, I find this monster more useful than Holmes, because Holmes does cast Piercer, Holmes does reduce ability cooldown times, but it's by 10% less, and the stat increase until you get to 4 pots, which is still going to be a pain because 34 costs are still pay to win. With the Holmes, you have to get to 4 pots for it to increase stats of all allies, and even then you could get other monsters that can do that on the fly easily with no questions asked or no hesitations. With Holmes, it's sort of a stretch, and it's just not worth it. On top of that, Holmes does have this ability where it reduces magic and physical damage to 0 for 2 times. But when you're in late S rank, and perhaps you already finished that crystal assault, which most of you probably popped Holmes for in the first place, you already know that reduced magic and physical damage by 0 2 times, 98% of the time it's not going to help. So this monster is going to be more useful than Holmes. Definitely want this monster, highly recommended. At least one for each guild. It don't matter who really gets it, as long as you trust them and you plan on staying in the guild. I highly recommend getting this monster because it's very good for guild battles. You only need one though, because you only have to deal with that damage reduction or damage reflection barrier once. and that piercer goes right through it on top of it. Those other two things it does, and it recovers 25 cost for your character, also useful, so keep that in mind. Alrighty, so this treasure spawn looks a lot more favorable than the usual treasure spawns. They have regular rates for the SSR, and on top of it, they have rates up on Magician Pon, Lady Beatrice, Sphinx, and Young Soul Yashimaru, so they have rates up on the featured monsters and the gear spawn. And on top of it, I'm not sure about the jackpot rates for the scrolls themselves, but if you can look right here, there's only one chest that doesn't carry at least 400 medals. One chest. 700 medals for the jackpot if you don't get a scroll, and everything else is 400 medals. This is I'm not gonna say a lot less, but this is at least cutting down pay to win by a decent amount. I'm not gonna say a good amount, but a decent amount, because I'm not sure exactly how this would roll, the RNG behind this or anything. But this spawn right here, this treasure spawn, is a lot less pay to win than your average treasure spawn. It contains fair, well, I'm gonna say kind of fair. If it was 6.03, I would say it's fair rates up by far. And then they have pretty much, you can get treasure medals guaranteed almost. Yeah, I would say on the average you're gonna get 500, because it's between 50 and 200. Not 500, but 100. Yeah, 500, because on the average you're gonna get 100, because it's between 50 to 200. You might get 160, 130. You might get 60 or 70 sometimes. So on the average, I'd say it's about 100 for me, where I usually get my medals. So overall, that's like 500 for each spawn. 30 gems for 500 medals. By the time you use 60, you're already at 1k medals if you were in my shoes. So everything besides one chest is gonna have medals. On top of it, you have a chance to get 600 medals, and not a bad one either. And remember that jackpot contains 700 medals, so you could still, through the chest, earn more than 400 medals. So it's not a bad spawn. It's a lot more lax on the pay to win system than the other treasure spawns. It's still pay to win, but it's a lot less pay to win. Good thinking, A-Team. You need to start doing this more often, and it would be nice for you to throw those 32 costs. Like, if honestly, I feel like 34 costs, sure, pay to win, and you guys need to earn some money. 35, 34s, but I think 33s and what's so not. I mean, even then 34s, I think you should just throw everything in the video point spawn besides 35s, because the video point spawn is still hard to obtain the stuff. You're not going to throw rates up if you throw more stuff in there. There's going to be rates down. So, and it offers free-to-players a chance to obtain the stuff as well. And you could just throw like the stellar gods in here guaranteed with all the 34 and 33 costs, so it really wouldn't matter. That would be nice. I mean, I think it would be. But anyways, going on from there, in the scrolls, and not in the scrolls, but the medals, they offer the star crown stuff. If you don't plan to get the scrolls at all, they offer Yashimaru and Sphinx at 8k if you're planning on getting those, or you want to get those. So if you want to get those right now, here's your golden opportunity, because so far I've never seen them in the step up spawn. As for Lady Beatrice appears in the step up spawn, so I can't really recommend going for her. But that pretty much covers this spawn. I like this spawn a lot. It is a lot less pay to win than the usual treasure spawn. Like, you have rates up, you have decent rates up. I'm not sure if they're really going to be helpful. I can tell you though, it's still going to be pay to win. And don't exactly expect to spawn this and get the monsters out of the spawn itself, like the gear spawn. If you're doing this to get the SSR, and perhaps you want to see if you can get this monster, don't exactly expect to get it. It is possible. It's more possible than they made it before recently, but it's still, I'd still say it's pretty far of a stretch. I wouldn't recommend doing this just for the monster itself. But they made it possible. It's not mythical anymore, is what I like to see about that. And on top of it, you can obtain loads and loads more treasure medals than you can usually obtain. With that being said, I hope this helped out, and I will see you in the next video. This is the AzureWrath. I'm out. Peace.